All right, guys, I think this is a much needed video, and it is going to be about how I used health and fitness to improve my life insurance policy. That means increasing the coverage amount and decreasing the monthly payment amount. So I made my premiums better and I jumped up in a category, and I did it in 7 months. And I was able to do so by locking in and then making sure that I was able to get the best policy out there so that my family was set up just in case. Smart thing to do if you're starting to make some money, if you've already made some money, if you're building and growing your family, if the future is bright but the unknown still lingers for everybody, then having life insurance for one is key. And this is not a video about selling life insurance. But again, if you have all that going, you probably should have a policy in place. Trust me, it's super helpful. A little more personal insight. My dad passed away from pancreatic cancer. He was only 60. Never would have seen it coming. He had life insurance in place. Super helpful. But I made sure that the time to lock in the policy was as young as I am to make sure I'm at the best health possible. But the first time I went to do it, I actually was not in my best health. And bear with me, I could be checking cameras. I'm here at the gym, of course, in the office, so I just need to make sure everything's good. I also have some notes on my screen, so I'll be referencing that for stats and background information as to the transformation process, and I'll throw some stuff off on the screen so it's not just me simply here standing here talking. So let's get back to it. The test I first took to get a good policy did not go so well. It wasn't terrible, it was not awful, but alarms are going off. It could have been better and should have been better if I wanted to make sure I had the best policy in place. Again, that means highest amount possible. Hold on, we got the alarms going off. Let me check on this. Pausing and coming back. All right, we're back. Had a new member, they needed help at the front. No big deal at all. So what I was explaining is, of course, you want the most amount of money possible for the lowest monthly cost, so that if you were to die, your family gets the most money. And in the meantime, every month you want to be paying the lowest amount so that you're not just spending tons of money on life insurance in the if case something did happen. So for me, this was extremely important just from experiencing it personally with our family, but also now I was starting to grow my family. My wife at the time was pregnant, so I wanted to make sure that once we had our daughter, we were good to go with all of that being in place. And then, of course, the older you get, the more likely that your health will start to decline, and the results that you'll get to lock in the highest amount for the lowest monthly amount will be dwindled, right? So I did the first blood exam, and this was in October of 2022. And in doing that, my expectation was, all right, I'm going to get the best thing possible. I'm still young. I was 30 years old. And, I fell off the wagon of health and fitness at this point in time. So this was during the lag, still coming off the tail of COVID, that I just wasn't really putting health and fitness at the top of the priority list like I had historically done. I was working out kind of more so just at home, so that just at home workouts no good for me. That suffers immensely. And I was not eating right, and I was drinking a lot, going out a lot, had a ton of weddings. Everybody and their brother was getting married because that was the point of life that I was in. So wedding after wedding, just tons of drinking. And so me being naive, I guess, I just kind of didn't even realize, hey man, you're not even in your best shape. So why would you be surprised if the results did not come back as Superman? So what I did when I took the first exam was I learned that I was not in the best shape, and I wasn't terrible, but it was not going to yield the highest category, meaning you can get the highest premium, or excuse me, the lowest premium amount, lowest monthly payment for the highest coverage. So I was aiming for somewhere around $2 million. And I, didn't want to spend more than $100 a month. And so my results came in. Here's what they were. First go around October 2022. The category was standard. So that is not the top category. Again, not the worst, but it was standard, non-smoker. my premium cost was $197 a month. $197 a month. And the things that I did poorly in were kidney functions with excess protein. My liver function was not optimal, and my cholesterol was 42 points higher than it should have been. So those were kind of the main highlights. Those are the main things that stuck out. And those were the reasons why I was not put into a super category, but was in the standard. And again, that resulted in, if I wanted a higher coverage, I was going to need to pay more. So because I wanted to be below 100 and had to settle for below $200 a month, I needed to drop my total coverage. So I decided to go with a policy that was 1.5 million. And me telling these number amounts really doesn't mean anything. It's not like I'm showing some behind the scenes thing about, wealth or any of that. I mean, if you're willing to pay for something, then you can obtain it. If you're not willing to, then you won't. So anybody can get this as long as they can physically qualify. So I elected to go for the $1.5 million policy, not the $2 million. And I was paying just about $200 a month. And I learned, bro, you're out of shape. So it was time to buckle in. So from there, I learned that I could redo this because I wanted to up to that $2 million level. And in redoing it, I could also potentially lower the monthly payment amount. So it was time to get to work. So I decided that I need to be more focused on the priorities of health and fitness. Again, I had lost my way for a couple years. Many did during COVID. It happens. You're also busy. I was really busy with work, trying to kill it at work. My family was growing. My dad had just passed away. There was a lot going on that a lot of people do a good job of using as excuses, myself included. But for the longevity of myself personally, as well as my family, I needed to make a change. So we hit the ground running. Fitness routine was on point. Food on point. These two things would be key so that when I did that test again, the results were Superman. So I decided to keep hitting it hard. And before the summer really went into full swing, I felt like I was ready. My body had transformed immensely from what it had been before. I was in really good shape, relatively speaking. And my food and alcohol had changed completely. So let's address the first thing, the kidneys. The kidney results were on the lower side, and it mentioned excess protein. Now, I wasn't at the time eating protein shakes and things like that, but I was eating poor quality food, junk, and going out to eat, and not watching brands, ingredients, and sourcing. So because I was getting protein, it didn't mean it was good, clean protein, and the effect was negative on my kidneys. We know this now. The information is massively and widely available that if you eat shitty brands, your body actually doesn't really like them. Meat's meat, but not really, And we're learning that, and inside the program, we focus a lot on that because my health and fitness has changed immensely by making those tweaks. But I started focusing on better brands, which, with the help of my wife, who's obsessing over non-toxic versus toxic, we were able to vet out, okay, this one's better, let's use it. Oh, actually, this one's even better, and keep going and going until we're using really good, clean, non-toxic products that are just simply fueling what God has created. Okay, go back, way back in time. Things were pretty simple, no processed shit. If we can go back to that, that might help us level up as God intended to make these beautiful creatures human beings, right? So, did that. Liver, the drinking, right? A lot of weddings, a lot of partying, a lot of hanging out and just casual drinking. So drinking throughout the week. I decided to do sober October, and then I proceeded to bring that all the way through till November. And I said, until I have an event worth breaking this, I'm not going to break it. And it was really hard at first, I'm not going to lie. If any of you have done it, it's not easy, especially if you have spent the last 10 plus years drinking every week. And that was me. So, Friday, Saturday, what the hell do you do with your time at night? That was hard. But I refrained. And it got easier with each week. And then it went from, I don't know what to do with my time, this sucks, I would love just to have a drink, to I'm not breaking this streak. And that helped me immensely. And the reason I broke it, just FYI, in case you're curious, was the day before Thanksgiving, we do the annual Pins hockey event where everybody gets together in honor of my dad. We have a scrimmage and we have some beers on the bench and stuff. I felt, in honor of my dad, that would be worthy of breaking the no alcohol. So that helped my liver immensely up until that point in time. But remember, we're going to bring this a few months beyond, October into November, and we're going to be looking at all the way through till May when I redo the test. So I still needed to keep that alcohol in check. And the third thing was the cholesterol. So again, going back to just eating better sourced foods, better brands, better ingredients, no shit and trash and toxicity in the foods. That was able to help my cholesterol immensely. So these three things were addressed by working out more, drinking less, and eating cleaner, better, non-toxic, correct branded foods. And so again, like I said, let's fast forward to now May of 2023. I'm going to retry. So about 7 months later, okay? So we're going a 7-month period to level up physically, inside and out, to now bump that insurance and drop that premium. Did we do it? So at first we were standard, second time around, and I love this because I always called it like Superman level. And it literally is categorized as super preferred non-tobacco. So we literally went to Superman level, as high as possibly categorized as we could go in 7 months. That's huge. Guys, if you are, again, growing your family, you're starting to make some money and you've got big things in your future because, you have your family that is now growing around your career that you've set up. Your kids are starting to get older. You're having more kids. They're going to school. Your life is just becoming bigger. There's way more going on. The all else aspect is growing immensely. Okay, you start off, your funnel's pretty short. Maybe you're 18 to 23 years old, 24 years old. You just got out of school. You're working your job. There's not much in terms of priorities beyond, going to work and maybe hanging out with friends and stuff. Now things are growing for you. Your life is getting bigger. The all else is becoming really important. So that's why the fitness part becomes just as important, because without that, you cannot enhance all other aspects of your life. I can't emphasize that enough. With all else going on in life, you have to stay fit. And the results were, I went from the $1.5 million policy standard for $197 a month to the super preferred non-tobacco for $2 million at $97 a month. So we went from 1.5 to 2 million, and we shaved $100 off the monthly payment. That's not bad. $100 less, $1,200 less a year. Now we're talking. And then on top of that, I added a $500,000 policy, term life policy. Okay, so now I have $2.5 million total in coverage, and that 500 is convertible, and it takes the fitness and blood test results that I was able to lock in May of 2023 and uses those as a base. I don't have to do it again. I can hold that 500 and I can convert it at any point in time. And I'm not going to get into the logistics of what that even means, because we're not talking about insurance right now in terms of that capacity. We're talking about how to get the best policy and coverage in place based on improving your health and fitness. So I have 2.5 available, and that 500 is available to be converted into a term life policy, which is pretty sweet once you start to gain wealth. Maybe that'll be a different video. But that was $28 a month. Okay, so we're still less than the 1.5 at 2.5, going from 197 a month to, do the quick math, 97 and 28, about $130, $125 a month, give or take, right? So we did it. We improved the kidneys, way better. We improved the liver function, way better, which is beneficial in the long run between the two. And then the cholesterol went from 224, so we were over 200, down to 176, dead center in the green. And by the way, every single thing in the May measurement was in the green. There was no red. The October prior year, there was some red. No red, all green. 7 months focusing on health and fitness, correctly implementing exercise and working out, and then, even more importantly, correctly implementing good food brands, good sourcing, good ingredients, removing the toxic shit, removing the alcohol, or then toning it back. And from there, I've kept that same track in place. Fast forward to 2025, we've opened All Else Fit Club. I'm in hands down the best shape of my life. I think if I did the test again, it would become even better. Doesn't work that way. I've already locked it in. It's all good. We've got the super preferred, aka the Superman. But this is no joke. So I now have a ton of security backed up for my family as it grows and expands over the years, as I build the all else aspect of my life, as I try to build businesses, as I grow the family and watch the family grow. And then on top of that, as I just watch my own fitness journey progress. This is just huge. This is key. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you are not doing this and acting on this, then you're missing out big time, immensely. And there's no reason to wait. The best time is now, because again, as the older you get, the more likely that health, that result is going to be not Superman. And you can lock it in and be ready to go. So why not lock it in now when you're at your best, or put in the work to get to your best in the next 3, 6, 7, in my case, 9, 12 months. Lock it in, and then it's good to go. Protect your future. I want to be able to help other people do that because it's so important for all the reasons I just listed off. The longevity and future of your family is key, and setting things up correctly is so important. Now it's all done. I don't even think about it, but for those 7 months, it was super important to me, and I stayed dialed in, and I have now remained dialed in, and the results speak for themselves. I want to help anybody who's interested in locking this down and improving upon what might already be in place for insurance, or preparing to then put it in place. It's doable in both directions, and we'll make sure that it is doable if you already do have it in place. I did it twice. I got a retry and I crushed it, and now we got it locked in. So let's get to work. I think that this is helpful information for you guys to have, because it is no joke, and it is something that I directly experienced, going from a shitbag to super preferred. In order to lock it in, I think it's best to start with just a call. So I do offer links in the description, free calls, just to at least touch base, make sure that it's a good fit for you, and that taking the time to help you out is going to be worth it. So it's a two-way street, and teeing up the expectations that we can have to make sure that when you implement the program, you're good to go. And just to give you some insight, what I would have you do is the Active to Become Ultimate program that I've put together. So you are focusing on being active in all aspects of your life, including fitness, and then all else, not passive in them, so that the energy, time, and effort being put into them is the correct energy, time, effort, and focus. The output will be the best. And so we focus on being active in everything we do, not passive, because the results then make that time spent on it worth it. And from there, we have our program, which breaks down the ability to kind of go through how to be active. If you're not going to be active, then you're wasting your time. So to elaborate on the Active to Become Ultimate program, we have a 3-3-4-2 method that we implement in cooperation with the fitness and food that we focus on. So again, we can get on the call, talk through it, make sure it makes sense, make sure you understand this 3-3-4-2 method of the Active to Become Ultimate program, and then we get to work. There's no games. Again, the time is not waiting on you. So direct action now, being active in what you do, is key. So let's do it. Link in description. With all else going on in life, guys, stay fit.